Hello and welcome back to the Moss Rod's Workbench. I've been working away at my 66 Mustang and wanted to give you all a little bit of an update to see where it's sitting at right now. So if you have not watched the previous video, this is an AMT 1966 Mustang Coupe that I am building into a track car, road car that is taking some inspiration from the SCCA Trans Am cars of the late 60s. So this is not going to be a full-blown race car, it's not going to be a street car, it's going to be a hybrid, something that you can tear around the canyon in, but then also take to the track on the weekends. And the party piece of this car is going to be the fact that it actually has a Ford 200 six-cylinder in it as opposed to a V8. So this is kind of where the car is right now. I am pretty much ready to start getting it into paint. So I figured now would be a good time to show you what I have done. So we'll go ahead and pull this apart like so. And we'll go ahead and we'll start with the interior. So not a lot has been done here yet, but I did mention in the first video that I wanted to add a roll cage. However, the roll cage that came with the car in the kit was not very good. It was simply this blue bar right back here, and then it had a kickoff that would go from the middle over to the passenger side. So it was only a three-point cage, and obviously something that would not be legal in today's racing world. So I ended up making it into a 6-point cage. The only original piece I used is the bar here, which I added a harness bar to and a couple of kickoffs. And then the rear section. I also widened it by just a tiny little piece there. You might be able to see the white coloration in the middle there, just to make it fit the car a little better. I considered adding a halo bar and some front supports, but I didn't want to get too far into it, so I think this is an adequate cage for the car. I also, well, here, I'll see if I can show you. There's a fun little quirk with this car. Also have some 3D printed racing seats, but there's also a few more 3D printed pieces here. But what's funny about this car is, as you can see, it has 3 pedals, so has a clutch. But if I were to remove the shifter I have here, and drop the switches that were not attached. Let's see how well my camera will pick this up. That is a reverse shifter right there. Or sorry, it is an automatic shifter right there. So the car was molded to have an automatic shifter, but manual pedals. So kind of an interesting quirk. But thankfully I just downloaded a shifter that fits perfectly over it and hides it. So I also downloaded a few switches that we're going to use for the ignition, the fuel pump, all that kind of fun stuff. And since I have the body off, I'll also show you the motor. So this is my Ford 200 engine that I designed with a couple of hop-up parts. I did 2 versions of the engine. For an example, here is the stock 200 with a stock air cleaner, stock valve cover, standard manifold, all that stuff. And then the custom engines have a triple carb setup. This is a downdraft, and I'm using a side draft. They have a finned, what did I make these to be? It's a finned Edelbrock valve cover, and then some custom headers. I think that's all I did with these to kind of hop it up. But yeah, so this is the original version I designed to have the triple downdraft carburetors, but these were not fitting underneath the hood, so I had also thankfully designed some side drafts because I anticipated this would happen. So there's a look at those. So yeah, I also solved my tire problem As I mentioned, the tires that came in the kit are kind of a boring style bias ply tire, and the kit only comes with hubcaps. They're skinny, obvious bias plies, not a good race tire. So thankfully, I had a set of some more modern radials that came out of the Revell Fox Body Mustang drag car. These are the stock tires, and they have a decent tire tread, a very street tread, nothing too fancy, nothing too aggressive, but also pretty good sidewall, so it does give it a vintage look. And they are almost the same as the kit. The wheel size is slightly bigger, but the hubcaps will fit. Not well, though. And then here's a little comparison on the width. So, same height, just about maybe 50% wider, and a much more modern tire design. And then to go with those, I also modified my Ford steel wheel design that I made for my Bronco. These guys. And made them a bit more deep dish. And so we'll be running these. Steel wheels were not super common in the Trans Am series. I did see, I think there was one car that was running steel wheels, but there was also a couple of these Mustangs that ran in Monte Carlo Rally, which were running steel wheels, and I love the look of those cars, so I'm definitely going to go with the steel wheels. Typically, you'd see a 5-spoke mag wheel, but I don't want this to be too... I don't know. Today, the mag wheels have a bit more of a street machine like vibe. You don't see them on... I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's not the right vibe that I envisioned for this car. And that's why I wanted to go with the steel wheels. So that's pretty much where we're at. Oh, I guess I did a lot of work to the body. Kind of forgot about all that. So I shaved everything, so there is a trim piece that would go along the rockers here originally on the kit. I went ahead and shaved all that. I debadged the car. I filled some sinkholes in the back here. It is an old promo style kit, so it had these posts that you would drill into. I just cut some of them off really poorly, but filled in the sinkholes. And then on the hood, debadged that. So took off the Ford letters. I did leave the rear because a lot of the cars were running that. That's not the fuel door, is it? Actually, that might be the fuel door on these cars. I'm totally spacing, but that might be the fuel door, which would make sense why they keep that. I also added the bumper, which I sanded a little bit. I need to sand a little more chrome off it before I paint it. But a lot of the cars did run rear bumpers, but not fronts. So now I'm working on doing the front bumper delete on the car. So I had to build out this whole section with styrene, and it looks a little messy. Hopefully once I throw some primer on there, I'll see what needs smoothing. But yeah, so this would be your original bumper mounts here. So I went ahead and just filled all this in to kind of give it the bumper delete look. I also cut out the grille supports. I'm not going to be running a grille on this car. And did keep the fog lights because some of the race cars did actually run those, and kept the plate because I am going to be running a plate on the car. I consider doing the GT350 front end where it has a big cutout here for the radiator, but I wanted this to be kind of a low buck car, so I did not want it to look like a Shelby. Though, yes, I know some of you are wondering, there were coupes that were running Trans Am with a Shelby front end. I know there was no such thing as a Shelby coupe. Technically, that's a whole can of worms. But yes, so that was a thing. I'm not doing it though. And that's pretty much it for the body. So just cleaned everything up and got it looking race ready. So that is where we're at. I'm going to start spraying some paint on this thing, and I will see you all when we are done. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.